I got the sides of my speaker enclosure for my subs, and it actually sits like this in the car. And I wanted to go over a few things about box building designs. I want to talk about shape. Shape of my box is not the perfect shape for an enclosure, and very few of the boxes you see in cars or build, if you build them yourself, are ideal. There's always compromise, and sometimes compromises because of limitations of the car. It could be about style, it could be about the speaker itself. There's a lot of things, but I tried to do a design that will work well and be functional for a lot of different things, and you'll see that as the install goes on. There's things about the design of this box that were important for design elements and actually working elements of the trunk itself as a trunk. Okay, now it's going to be 3 separate chambers, 2 woofers in each chamber. I prefer to do separate chambers for a lot of reasons, but and one of which is if you blow one woofer, you will not blow the other woofer. It's just there are some advantages, some people say, to sharing a chamber. I personally don't agree. One of the things about box design I wanted to talk about is that it's always better to have all of your woofers firing in the same direction because they acoustically couple. It's very bad to have them on different sides of a vehicle. You often see them on one side of the trunk and the other. If they happen to sound good, to be perfectly blunt about it, it's by accident, because the design of that is just, you're just asking for cancellation. So, hey, I'm talking back here. Does anybody give a crap?
Here's the thing though about that.
Yeah?
I don't really care.
Oh, why don't you just...
Are you talking to yourself?
Yes, I am. I often do that. I talk to myself. And this little black box here on the tripod.
Did you talk to that?
That I talk to, it's my friend.
Does it talk back?
Oh, it's my friend.
Hello, friend.
Hello, friend. Sometimes it does talk back.
I'll be back.
I'll be Chopin. Okay, back to the boxes. The ideal box design would be basically an egg with the woofer on the side. The reason for this is good is because you're less likely to have standing waves inside this type of enclosure. Now, the next, the best thing would be a what's known as the golden ratio, and that's basically a rectangle that's not too shallow, with a woofer on one side, preferably more to one side. Now, if that box becomes too narrow, like a truck box for behind the seat, the compromise starts to get bigger. You're trying to get a woofer in an area that is really not good to put a woofer because of the shape of the enclosure. Now, the worst... Oh God, Timmy, please shut up. The absolute...
Not my dad.
No, my dad.
6 years older than my dad doesn't mean you can tell me what to do.
If I were your dad, I would put you over my knee and beat your bare little bottom till it was bloody raw.
I'd run away.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. Now, the worst shape for an enclosure would be a cube, because in a cube, that negative wave, the sound that's inside the enclosure, is more likely to bounce off on angles, like 90 and 45 degree angles, all in throughout the box a million times until you get cancellation. A box like this will have a tendency to have a really poor sound quality. Sometimes you have to build a box like that, compromise. So, what's wrong with this box? Well, the good thing is, that the angles are all different. Any reflection in there is less likely to, cause a standing wave. What happens inside the enclosure directly affects what you're going to hear on the other side, outside the enclosure. It's not a cube, obviously, and because it's maybe 14, 15 inches wide, it's actually a pretty good shape, other than perhaps this area back here. Because it's kind of confined, it's not the greatest. But since it's back on the far end, and there will be polyfill in the box, it's not as big of a deal. And this part was actually part of the design for a very specific reason in the vehicle, and you'll see that again later as the trunk starts getting built. The fact that these woofers are not firing in the same direction, that probably bothers me the most about this actual box design. But because my trunk lid and needing the room on the top for the base to go through, I really didn't have a whole lot of choice on this. It's a little bit on the large side for this particular woofer. It is a sealed enclosure, but that's because I'm going to do corner braces in the entire box, and braces from panel to panel, because the long sides of the box are the sides that are going to be most likely to flex. So there will be braces going sideways through the box, so that hopefully will eliminate any kind of resonance of the sides or movement of the sides.